Hello, fellow ranch hands and aspiring Stardew Valley perfectionists. Have you ever wondered if you could become a millionaire without ever leaving your farm? Well, buckle up because I'm about to take you on a wild ride through my attempt at the Earn $1 Million Without Leaving the Farm challenge in Stardew Valley. I decided to attempt this after watching DPadGamer's video and thought, hey, this looks fun, but oh boy was I wrong. This challenge, which I grotesquely miscalculated, consists of 20 hours of mossy rain, unexpected alien visitors, and enough trees to make a lumberjack cry. So grab your watering can, nibble on a spicy eel, and put your lucky shorts on because we're about to dive into a Stardew Valley adventure like no other. Let's go! So starting off, we need a character. Inspired by the indie gaming company Riot Games, I called my character Lux Demacia and selected the new black kitty as my farm friend. I decided to go with the Four Corners farm just like DPadGamer's video and set off for a long-winded adventure. Also, I was today years old realizing that this is supposed to be my dying grandfather and not a sleeping Father Christmas. I was shooketh. I guess I really need to start reading the dialogue, hey? Anyway, the early game for this challenge is more deceptive than Pierre's prices, and I felt hopeful for the countless hours ahead. My biggest concern starting off, and with my existing knowledge, were lack of wood and maximizing my mining XP. Immediately, I wanted to become organized and set myself up for success, although I was already missing the love of my life, Alex. With this challenge, luckily, the top left quadrant on the Four Corners map produces a lot of weeds that contain mixed seeds, so I collected these every day and tried to preserve as many as possible for summer. I also decided that I needed some company, so I allowed a little kitty named Yumi to come live with me. Once summer came around, I was disappointed for the mixed seed selection. I initially thought I'd be able to produce some melons, corn, and pepper, but a lot of the seeds turned into wheat, which in my opinion was basically useless. I'd already received my first owl statue at this point, 1 of 5, and was praying the crop fairy would visit me, but alas. I guess she was busy covering a shift for the tooth fairy. I was actually struggling with mixed seeds at this point until this ugly swamp rain unleashed its plagues upon my farm. This was the start of turmoil for my trees, and not even the wizard could save me from this nightmare. On night 22, some weird boxes floated from the sky, and I selected the forester profession for 25% more wood. Subsequently, on night 27, I chose the tiller profession to sell my crops for 10% more. Once I received level 3 foraging, I wanted to place some tappers on my trees. If you are wanting to do this challenge by yourself, by the time you can make kegs, you will have more than enough resin to do so, so you only really need a maximum of 2 tappers per tree. Fall came around and I'd planted a good amount of mixed seeds and some mixed flower seeds I collected in the summer. I didn't even know mixed flower seeds were a thing, and I was so excited to see some fairy rose flowers in the anticipation of fairy rose honey in the future. Winter was a great time for me to skip some days and focus solely on mining. I found these cute little powdered melon seeds and thought I can make melon wine, but people, heed my warning. Powdered melon wine sells for barely anything, so please do not be like me and don't even bother. Year 2 crept up on me fast, and ET decided to pay me a visit on the night of the 3rd. I genuinely had no clue what this was and didn't even notice the strange capsule until day 6. I still have no clue what the hell this thing is, so if anybody could let me know in the comments, I'd greatly appreciate that. On day 12, I'd realized that E.T. smashed out of his capsule, and while I'm here chilling in the sunshine on my farm, this extraterrestrial could be wreaking havoc on the villages of Stardew. Not my problem. To be honest, I just hope they take it out on Pierre first, because Caroline deserves better. Actually, isn't it included in a note somewhere that Caroline is cheating on P-Dog? Anyways, fast forward to fall, and my farm was starting to become overgrown, and it was really stressing me out. My initial fear of not having enough trees or wood became my new fear because I had too many trees and too much wood. On the 1st of fall year 2, ET launched another attack on my farm, and the second meteor landed in the area I wanted to expand into. I was not impressed with this little nuisance of an alien and began tending to my farm feeling very angry. In winter year 2, I wanted to ensure I could move freely in my farm, and so I decided to place some more flooring down. Honestly, I wish I would have just covered all the land I wasn't going to use in floorboards because the mess these weeds and trees created were far too much for me. On the night of the 3rd, I finally hit level 5 mining, so I obviously selected the miner profession to receive +1 ore per vein. After the aliens antics, I finally slept with a smile on my face. During this winter, I spent a lot of time placing down flooring, mapping out areas, and finally creating an area for my future sprinklers to sit. As someone who usually rushes to have quality sprinklers by summer in year 1, having to use these basic sprinklers was torture. It felt so inefficient to only be able to plant 4 crops in a 3x3 tile. I could have probably utilized all of my brain power to make some mathematical design, but I stuck to simplicity as I was already getting frustrated with how overgrown my farm was becoming. I definitely learned some new things about myself though while I was doing this challenge. I do like to remain organized, and when things start to fall into disarray, I start to lose my enjoyment of the gameplay, so this was definitely a difficult gaming experience for me. Just before the final day of year 2, I cleared out my tree farm that I initially placed to shake the trees for tree seeds to turn into field snacks. This area would eventually become my second plot of farmland in the years to come. When I slept that night, I was visited by my grandfather's ghost, and he basically called me a failure, so slay. I knew he was low-key right though, as 3 years into the game, I was still only sitting at 1,115 gold. Now, the night of the 12th of spring, year 3 almost made me quit the game. I was super excited to finally reach farming level 10 and unlock the artisan profession to continue my planned journey. I even stood proudly in my fields and giggled with excitement as everything was slowly coming together. However, in my impatience to skip to the next day, I accidentally clicked the wrong profession before I even had a chance to understand what had happened. When I awoke, I felt the tears well up in my eyes as I opened my skills menu to see what had happened. However, if this isn't a learnable moment for myself and for others, then I don't know what is. Because when life throws you a curveball, sometimes you just gotta run with it and do your best. So, on the bright side, once I received my ancient seeds, at least they would grow quicker, right? Finally, on the night of the 7th of summer year 3, the Tooth Fairy handed in her notice and was employed by Crops & Co. to come and bless my crops. The generosity that was bestowed upon me was moving and made me feel grateful to be alive. Of all seasons to come, of all crops to bless, 2 corn crops were blessed. That's it. I genuinely sat back in my chair and laughed at how outrageous this was. I waited 3 bloody years and I was so disappointed. But on the upside, you have to try and look at the positives, turn that frown upside down. So thank you for your hard work, Mrs. Crop Fairy. May you bless me in the future again. As a compromise for the wickedly awful RNG, the next day I found a witch's hat in a tree. Elphaba would be so proud. Of course, I ditched the wedding veil and started my journey as a new Wiccan on the farm. I realized at this point though, I started to kind of look like Sabrina, especially having a black cat too, so I wish in hindsight I would have called the little kitty Salem, but oh well. Year 4 approached, and at this point I realized all I needed to do was get to level 7 mining to start producing gold for the seed makers. Fortunately, I achieved this monumental moment on the 20th of Fall, year 3, and made some seed makers the next day in preparation for year 4. Again, after receiving such awful RNG, my luck was finally starting to turn as I received my first ancient seed at 8:30 AM, mere minutes after using my seed makers. I was super excited to start year 4 as I knew everything was finally in place to get this millionaire ship sailing. During winter, I prepared some speed grow with the pine tar and moss, planted some stupid powdered melons, which we all know I hate these things now, and was confused as to why I was struggling with coal. Then it hit me, I can build a kiln and turn all this stupid wood into coal. I guess intelligence isn't my forte, but hey, at least I'm soldiering on harder than Kent's adventures in the military. Only long-term players will know what I'm on about. At the start of year 5, everything was full steam ahead. Pickle my plants, flower my bees, keg my crops, and ensure a healthy amount of seeds. I kept replacing my plants with ancient fruit seeds when they were available and slowly built up a farm filled with these money-making beauties. I was blessed, and I mean blessed. Hallelujah. To have the crop fairy visit me on the 1st of summer. Now, this time I really can't be mad because Ginger Tinkerbell came and blessed my ancient seeds that still needed around 17 days left to grow. I was so happy because this was definitely the side of RNG I wanted to be on. Hallelujah. This moment honestly really helped propel me into a successful year. Looking back while editing this video, this entire run is so heavily dependent on reaching level 7 mining, so maybe the hilltop farm would be a better idea if I was to do this again. Anyway, this year consisted of rinse and repeat, collect ancient fruit, turn them into seeds, and look towards year 6 for my final bow for this run. On the 4th of spring, year 6, I sold my collected artisanal goods to get a ballpark of how much gold I had already made. When I slept that night, I was delighted to see that I had reached just under half of my goal. The motivation I gained from this was unparalleled to anything in my life before. I genuinely can tell you, after hours of gameplay, from this moment on, I played the game for an additional 45 minutes to achieve my 1 million goal. A lot of sleeping, collecting ancient fruit, filling preserve jars and kegs led me to the 5th of fall, where I sold all my goods and the remaining ancient fruit. It's kind of comical when I slept that night and earned 773,000 gold, as I could have completed this challenge a good few days before, but nevertheless, I've always been known to go above and beyond, and this is no different. From a humble novice farm to a thriving entrepreneur, I finally beat the challenge and felt accomplished with my achievement. Well, folks, we've reached the end of our $1 million journey. What a ride it's been. We've battled overgrown forests, welcomed alien visitors, dodged meteors, and turned our farm into a beautiful paradise. So what have I actually learned from this experience? Well, never underestimate the power of seeds, especially the ancient ones. Trees are your best friends and your worst enemies. Aliens might visit, but they make terrible farm hands. Bees are kind of useless, but they're beautiful. And mining experience is worth its weight in gold, quite literally. But the adventure doesn't stop here. I'm hooked on Stardew Valley challenges now, and I need your help. What should I tackle next? Drop your wildest, wackiest challenge ideas in the comments below, and who knows, your suggestion might be the star of my next video. I personally was thinking about doing another millionaire challenge, but this time with something less extreme, like maybe making $1 million by becoming a florist and only selling flowers and flower-based products. So let me know what you think, and if you enjoyed this $1 million misadventure, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Join our growing Stardew Valley community where we turn farming into an extreme sport and treat crop fairies like celebrities. Until next time, keep your hoes sharp, your seeds plenty, and your dreams of agricultural domination alive. This is your favorite Stardew Valley millionaire signing off. Happy farming, everyone. Bye!